गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Sarvika Giridhari Gaura Hari. Jaya Nitai Gaur Sundar, Jaya Nitai Gaur Sundar, Nitai Gaur Sundar, Jaya Nitai Gaur Sundar, Nitai Gaur Sundar, Nitai Gaur Sundar, Jaya Nitai Gaur Sundar, Jaya Narsimhadev, Jaya Narsimhadev, Narsimhadev, Jaya Narsimhadev. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Nam Sankirtan ki Jai. Hare Krishna, everyone. So today we'll discuss words 2.20 of Bhagavad Gita. It's there on the screen. So let's chant this verse. One of the very important verses of Bhagavad Gita. Na jayate mriyate va kadachin. Nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyah. Ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano. Nahanyate hanyamane sharire. One more time, please. Na jayate mriyate va kadachin. Nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyah. Ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano. Nahanyate hanyamane sharire. So now it's audience turn to chant. So maybe you can try chant. Yes. Na jayate mriyate va kadachin. Nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyah. Ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano. Nahanyate hanyamane sharire. Na jayate mriyate va kadachin. Nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyah. Ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano. Nahanyate hanyamane sharire. So chanting these verses is very important because this Vani, these verses are directly coming from Supreme Personality of Godhead. So just like Ganges is so pure, why? Because it touches the lotus feet of the Lord. So Bhagavad Gita is similarly very pure because it has directly come from the Supreme Lord's mouth. So even if we don't know the meaning of the shloka yet, will feel the vibration. The vibration itself has got lot of potency. No? So just by chanting the verses itself, we'll feel some different feeling in our heart. So that's how this activity of repetition is done. So let's from Mataji's side. Anyone would like to try? Ladies' side. Slowly you can read. It's not difficult. I can increase the font also. Would you like to try? It's difficult? Yeah, okay. You want to try? Yeah. We'll chant after you. Na jayate mriyate va kadachin. Now you. Nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuya. Ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano. Nahanyate hanyamane sharire. Thank you. Very nice. Anyone else? Aap try karna chahiye. Would you like to try? Difficult, eh? What is difficult? Sanskrit or it's not visible? Oh, Kannada. Okay. Yeah, we have Kannada Bhagavad Gita also. Yeah, it's there. But yeah, currently this is in Sanskrit and English. Okay. So let's try to understand. English you can understand? You can. Okay. So let's try to understand the meaning of this word-to-word meaning of this shloka. So you can repeat after me. Na, never. Jayate, takes birth. Mriyate, dies. Va, either. Kadachit, at any time. Past, present or future. Na, never. Ayam, this. Bhutva, having come into being. Bhavita, will come to be. Va, or. Na, not. Bhuyaha, or is again coming to be. Ajaha, unborn. Nityaha, eternal. Shashvataha, permanent. Ayam, this. Puranaha, the oldest. Na, never. Hanyate, is killed. Hanyamane, being killed. Sharire, the body. Okay. So let's one of you read the translation, please. Yeah. Can you read the translation? Loudly you read. Yeah.
For the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain, and the body is slain.
Thank you. For the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. So before reading purport, we'll have a short prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namom Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Ti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatyadeshitarane Vancha Kalpatarubheshya Kripa Sindhubheva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So we are going to understand this verse with a demo also. We'll do some demo to understand this verse. Okay. So this verse is essentially talking about. So Bhagavad Gita. Let's understand what is Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is a knowledge which was spoken in Kurukshetra. 700 shlokas in 45 minutes. Right. So when Arjun was confused, you can see from the picture, he was worried. He was miserable, he stopped fighting, then Krishna spoke this knowledge. Right? Similarly, in our life, at different points, we are confused, we need guidance. Right? So that's how Bhagavad Gita is a life manual. At any point in your time, any point in time, there will be one shloka from Bhagavad Gita which we can relate. And that is there exactly to guide us. It hardly takes. Have you read Bhagavad Gita? Any of you?
Yeah.
You have read fully?
I mean, I didn't understand much, but
Yeah,
read
sure.
once.
Excellent.
The
Well,
slokas and all I couldn't read. The explanation for the slokas I read.
you have read all the explanations for all the 18 chapters. That's excellent. Thank you. Well, have you ever tried reading Bhagavad Gita?
Yeah, in my childhood, my mother made me learn 12th and 15th chapter.
Oh,
I
excellent.
recited for many years.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes I would go through the meanings also. But I mean, practical implementation, I don't know.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay. Have you? You are reading currently. Which chapter you are reading? Second chapter. Okay, very nice. How about you, Prabhu? Have you read Bhagavad Gita? Completely read once? Oh, that's nice. Yeah, so definitely when we come in association with devotees, we see how to really apply this practical part. So we have a theory and we have a practical, like every science. Hare Krishna Girish Prabhu. So we have a theory, and then unless we get into lab and do something on burettes or something, then we don't really understand the theory, right? Similarly, we understand the theory, but when we come in association of devotees, we apply, we do some surveys, we understand, okay, how to apply this verse in this situation, then that becomes the practical part, right? So two aspects. So it's very scientific, just like in a science, there are two aspects, theory and practical, and then comes the result. Right? So here also we have theory and practical, and then there will be results. So just because all of you are sitting here, so we can deduce that you have some interest in Bhagavad Gita. You have some aspirations to learn from Bhagavad Gita, isn't it? So now those aspirations will be fulfilled once we understand the theory nicely and we apply those principles in association with devotees, right? So this verse, so let's actually do something. Out here. Okay, so let's do something, okay? You all can see, right? So I'm just using some random XLS. You all are familiar with XLS, right? Bangalore, most of engineers. Oh, it needs internet. Okay, so let's do on something. Okay. So this is not an XLS class, but we'll try something. Okay. So let's say you have some number here. Again, you have some number here. Okay, so let's say this is account sheet. Okay, the font is good enough. So let's say these are the number of orders placed to you. Okay. So let's do a auto sum here somewhere. Okay, and you got this grand total. Okay. So these are the 45, 4, 5, 3, 8, 1. This is the total number of orders placed. Okay. And let's say a person who is taking the orders, he missed this part and he actually placed this. What happens? Do you see a change here?
Yeah.
How about this? Significant, right? Okay. So let's say before I, so what do you understand from this? Let's not the theory, but what is your observation? Not the teaching. Okay. What is what do you see from this happening?
If we will follow all the orders, then we will get the result in accordance with that. If we miss some orders, the results will also be less.
Okay, that's nice. Okay, anyone from gentleman's side?
In case 1, the values were given in large numbers so that the result is large. In case 2, the values are given less and so that the result is less.
Okay, nice. Okay, you want to guess?
Yeah, with the change in our actions will lead to different kind of results.
Oh, you have come to teachings. Okay, so case 1 and case 2 I just gave to confuse you. There's just one case. What are we trying to show is if you make any, if you induce an error in any of these cells, so your result is going to go for a toss, right? We just saw. Similarly, now come the practical from Bhagavad Gita. So the basics of Bhagavad Gita is this. Basics of Bhagavad Gita says that you are not this body, but you are something within the body. That is soul. This is the basic ABCD of Bhagavad Gita, right? So just like if you learn a C++, Python, any language, you'll probably go learn some variables, data structure, like basic stuff, right? So same thing here. The basic foundation of Bhagavad Gita is this. Now the whole world, more than 99.999%, right? They don't know this, or they don't believe in this, they don't practice this, right? They think that we are bodies. So that if we made the mistake in the basic foundation, anything we build upon that foundation is definitely going to be collapsed, right? So here it's like inducing an error in a cell, then all the formulas. So now there can be, this is a sum formula, there can be plenty of formulas which will depend on the cell value and they'll also go for a toss. Same thing in our life. If we believe that we are this bodies, not the soul, which is other way around, the reality, then anything we do upon that, right? Now it can be anything, we'll keep on building, right? It can be relationship, it can be career, it can be so on and so forth, right? So many different aspects of life. But since the foundation has got an error, it's actually upside down, anything we build upon that is doomed for a failure, right? Okay, so let's go back to the, so is the analogy clear?
Yeah, but
Okay,
okay, but you will explain further, or can I ask a question?
sure, man. Yeah.
I mean, the first thing my mind comes to my mind after I think is I'm a soul and not this body. Then everything material does not, is not at all required by me. So
That's right.
should I give up all material things?
That's a good question. Yeah, so let's try to answer this. We'll catch this. We'll towards the end of this session, we'll try to answer this. Maybe in next 10-15 minutes, right? So we are going to discuss this verse for merely 10-15 minutes more. Then we are going to conclude. Okay. So let's understand this verse from Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Good part is that anytime you are traveling and you don't have access to the physical copies, there's a nice website, vedabase.io. This is the ISKCON's authentic website where you'll get all the books which are there in the library in this form, right? In the digital form, vedabase.io. All Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, everything is there. Okay. So let's try to understand. Basically, we are reading from Bhagavad Gita itself. Okay. So this is just so that you can also see. It's there. Okay. Who will read? Maybe let's start from here, and then all of us are going to read. But we need to be loud, है ना? Yes.
Qualitatively, the small atomic fragmental part of the Supreme Spirit is one with the Supreme. He undergoes no changes like the body. Sometimes the soul is called Kustari or
Kutastha.
Kutastha. The body is subject to 6 kinds of transformations. It takes its birth from the womb of the mother's body, remains for some time, grows, produces some effects, gradually dwindles, and at last vanishes into
Oblivion.
The soul, however, doesn't go through such changes. The soul is not born, but because he takes on a material body, the body takes its birth. The soul doesn't take birth there, and the soul doesn't die. Anything which has birth also has death. And because the soul has no birth, he therefore has no past, present, or future. He is eternal, ever existing, and perennial. That is, there is no trace in history of this coming into being.
His coming into being.
And at the impression of the body, we seek the history of birth, etc., of the soul. And the soul does not at any time become old as the body does. The so-called old man therefore feels himself to be in the same spirit as in his childhood or youth. The changes of the body don't affect the soul. The soul doesn't deteriorate like a tree, nor anything material. The soul has no byproduct either. The byproducts of the body, namely children, are also different individual souls and moving to the body. They appear as children of the particular man. The body develops because of the soul's present. But the soul has neither offshoots nor change. Therefore, the soul is free from the 6 changes of the body.
Very nice. Thank you. So what is the one takeaway from this? So there are 6 changes which a body goes through, right? What is the first change? It's mentioned in this paragraph. If you are attentive, so first thing is it takes birth. It is born. Okay. So what is the second stage here? It will grow, right? Produces some effects, meaning that it can have byproducts. Let's say a tree can produce a fruits like that. It will have some effects. 3. Okay. What is the 4th thing?
It will grow old.
It will grow old.
Then at last vanishes.
It will dwindle. Yeah. Body will start getting invalid. You cannot raise your hand. You cannot. Eyes are not proper. Like ears are not able to hear properly. Everything becomes very invalid, and then finally it dies, right? So that is the state not only with our body. It's like everything material goes through these 6 changes in different ways, but the soul does not go through these 6 changes. So that is the one important takeaway from this. Soul stays as is. So now we actually in this world we don't have experience of anything which qualifies for this, right? Something which is never, everything we see, it actually comes into existence and it goes off. Anything, right? So for example, mobile phone, it is made someday and it vanishes someday. A tree, it takes birth someday and then it goes off someday. So everything in our experience actually is into this category. But soul is beyond this domain. That's how it's a totally spiritual subject matter. So it's always existing. It's like there's no question of, just like people ask, okay, if God made us, then who made God? So why this question? Because all we know is everyone has to take a birth, right? So we are thinking God has to take a birth also, right? But then there is a domain altogether, different dimension where it's beyond taking birth and getting dead, right? So that's the one key point here. So in the Katha Upanishad, 1 to 18, we also find a similar passage which reads, Na jayate mriyate va vipashyin, nayam kutashin na babhuva kashit, ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano, na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Yeah, now you can read, yes. Oh, yeah, Mataji, you can read.
The meaning and purport of this verse is the same as in the Bhagavad Gita, but here in this verse there is one special word, vipashchit, which means learned or with knowledge.
Yeah.
The soul is full of knowledge or full always with consciousness. Therefore, consciousness is a symptom of the soul. Even if one does not find the soul within the heart, where he is situated, one can still understand the presence of the soul simply by the presence of consciousness. Sometimes we do not find the sun in the sky owing to the clouds or for some other reason, but the light of the sun is always there, and we are convinced that it is therefore daytime. As soon as there is a little light in the sky early in the morning, we can understand that the sun is in the sky. Similarly, since there is some consciousness in all bodies, whether man or animal, we can understand the presence of the soul. This consciousness of the soul is, however, different from the consciousness of the Supreme, because the Supreme Consciousness is all knowledge, past, present and future. The consciousness of the individual soul is prone to be forgetful. When he is forgetful of his real nature, he obtains education and enlightenment from the superior lessons of Krishna. But Krishna is not like the forgetful soul. If so, Krishna's teachings of Bhagavad Gita would be useless.
Yeah. So let's try to understand this paragraph. Okay. So before I ask questions, maybe you want to share any takeaway? What is the key point in this paragraph from Prabhu's side? What is one important point, theme of this paragraph?
Symptoms of soul.
What is the symptom of soul?
Consciousness.
Consciousness, right. And what is the analogy given here? There's an analogy example given here, right, to explain this point? Yes, Prabhu. What is the analogy given? Explain the analogy. Yeah. Huh.
You can infer from light that the sun is there.
Right.
It is dead.
It is daytime, right. Similarly, yeah, just like from the daylight, we can infer that even if there might be cloudy day, but we can infer that there is sun up there. Right? Similarly, from the effects, similarly from the symptoms similarly from the consciousness, we can infer that there is a soul within, though we cannot see it. Right? So that is the analogy here. Any other point you find interesting in this paragraph? So towards the end, right, there's a point mentioned. Was anyone able to understand this?
Human beings forget where the soul, but God doesn't forget.
So actually both Krishna and us, we are spirits. Both are spirit. But he's like Parameshwara or Parabrahman and we are Brahman. Right? So you would have heard this slogan a lot, Aham Brahmasmi. Have you heard of this?
I heard.
Yeah, so this is very common term. So Aham Brahmasmi means I am the spirit soul. But Krishna is Parabrahman, he is the supreme spirit. And later in the Bhagavad Gita we find a nice verse which says Mame Vansho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha. So Mame Vansho, Krishna is saying Mame Vansho, it's very simple Sanskrit, that all the living entities are my fragmental parts, my parts and parcels. So quality wise all of us are equal to Krishna, right? But quantity wise we are very small. So Prabhupada would often give example of just like a salt, we have an ocean of salt But if we take a drop, so qualitatively that drop is going to be chemically equivalent to the whole sea. All the chemicals would be similar, right? But the quantity wise, there's just this, yeah, it's a very small fragment, right? So similarly, he would give another example of a gold mine, right? So we have a small gold particle and a big gold mine. Is there a difference? Quantitatively, there's a huge difference, but qualitatively, they are both gold. Similarly, we and Krishna, all of us are spirit souls. So we are also Sat Chit Anand as a spirit. But then in the terms of quantity, there's a huge difference. We are infinitesimal and Krishna is infinite. That is the reason that we are prone to forget. But Krishna always remembers. Right? So in the 4th chapter also we see, in the beginning of 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, this is just 2nd chapter, that Krishna says that long, long ago I gave the same knowledge to whom? To whom? Surya, sun god, Vivaswan was his name, right? So sun god, Vivaswan. So long, long ago. But if someone asks us, okay, what did you eat 2 days back in the dinner? Anyone? You remember? We cannot, right? It's so hard for us to remember. But Krishna remembers everything, past, present, everything. Okay? So that's a one also very key takeaway, that how we are quantitatively very different from the Supreme Spirit, Parabrahman. Okay. Again, I think this is the last paragraph. Let's read this. There are 2 kinds of souls, namely the minute particle soul, Anu Atma, and the super soul, Vibhu Atma. This is also confirmed in Katha Upanishad 1.2.20 in this way. Anor aniyam mahato mahiyan atma sajantor nihito guhayam tam akratu pashyati vita shoko dhatu prasadan mahimanam atmanaha. Yeah, Girish, can you read?
Both the super soul, Paramatma, and the atomic soul,
Jivatma.
are situated on the same tree of the body, which is the same heart of the living being, and only one who has become free from all material desires as well as the lamentations can, by the grace of the Supreme, understand the glories of the soul. Krishna is the fountainhead of the super soul also, as it will be disclosed in the following chapter, and Arjuna is the atomic soul, forgetful of his real nature. Therefore, he requires to be enlightened by Krishna or by his bona fide representative, the
Spiritual master, right. Okay, so what is one point from this paragraph?
souls which are like forgetful,
Mhm.
atomic soul,
Yeah, they are forgetful. So what is the solution suggested here?
enlightened by super.
Yeah, enlightened by Krishna or his representative, right? Spiritual master. So since we are forgetful, we are prone to commit so many mistakes, right? So we need enlightenment. So just like Arjuna got enlightened by hearing from his spiritual master, so we have a chain of spiritual masters from whom we learn this knowledge, right? So this is so in this, now let's going back to the original verse, right? The kind of presentation this verse has got is like a Upanishadic way, right? It says not this, not this, not this, not this. It says na jayate mriyate. So soul does not take birth and does not die. Va kadachin, never. Nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuya. Not this, not this, not. Because all we have experience of is of material things, which are, and then what we are talking about soul is beyond this dimension, right? So concluding the understanding of why this verse is spoken here by Krishna is that Arjuna he's actually very repulsive about fighting. He's not ready to fight, and he's giving different logical reasons that why he cannot fight. And one of the reasons he gave is that if I kill those my teachers, my grandfathers, they all will be dead. So what Krishna is saying that soul, actually he's trying to differentiate between soul and the body. So body is always dead and soul never dies, right? So it never comes into being and it's never going to die, right? So more we actually now okay, how this we can what we can understand from this shloka in our life, right? So in our life, all the fears and all these things are because we are hooked on to some temporary thing, right? So if we are, and the nature of the temporary thing like body is that it has a birth, it comes into being and it dies. So definitely sooner or later, let's say if I'm attached to my dog, right? So either I leave the dog or either dog leaves me. One thing is sure, right? So because at the bodily level, one thing is going to, both of them are going to die, but their separation is definite, right? But if we are acting on the spiritual platform, then on the spiritual platform, soul never comes into being and never dies. So that's how acting on the soul platform gives us lot of confidence and naturally frees us from the fear, right? So this is one key takeaway from this verse. And now you might ask, okay, what are different things we can act on spiritual, right? So for example, all the activities we do in a spiritual circle with devotees, they are totally on the spiritual platform, right? So for example, so when you enter ISKCON temples, right, you might have people calling you Mataji or Prabhuji, right? So it says, you are my master, you are our mothers. So the entire mood is that of serving other person, right? So this is a mood in the spiritual world. So this is spirit. Same again thing. Another thing is we chant holy names of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So now these might look like normal words, but this sound vibration is also spiritual, right? Now this can be realized as we practice, right? And similarly, Bhagavad Gita, this is spiritual because it's coming directly from Krishna's mouth. So we should try to maximize our contact with spiritual things. Why? Because that is our nature. We are spirit, so our very nature is of getting satisfied by spiritual things. It's just like aquatic, right? So you have a fish, aquatic. So its very nature is to be satisfied with water. Anything else would not satisfy it. Similarly, as spirits, our very nature is to get satisfied, get happy in spiritual contact. And anything matter is definitely going to frustrate us, right? So we should always try to maximize our contact with spiritual things. And just to answer question, so your question was that, oh, now I understood, right? How I understood that I am this soul. So can I just give up everything related to the body? Actually, yes. But currently our understanding is very theoretical, right? We don't really realize it. And another thing is, but we should go towards this, right? And then let's take example of car. Let's say you are a driver and you have got a car. So are you going to take care of car or not? When you are, let's say you are on a long drive, are you going to take care of car, like fueling it, cleaning it?
Yes,
Definitely, right? So what if your car breaks down in between?
I will not be able to reach my destination.
Yeah, it will impact us, right? And similarly, let's take another example. Will we take care of the driver or ourselves who are sitting within?
Yeah, both are important.
Both are important, right? So that's the point, because both are important to in the smooth journey, in smooth ride. है ना? But let's say if we are let's say if we are too much worried about the drive, too much worried about the car, like we are polishing it nicely, we are painting it nicely, we are fueling it also, but then we forgot to give food to the driver. So will this thing help? Driver will die of hunger, or he might even crash, right? So both are important. It's like feeding like you are painting that thing, like you have a parrot's nest, right? Painting the nest and then you forgot to feed the pigeon inside. So what will happen? you'll have a nice nest, but the pigeon will die. So that's so we should make a nice balance. Now, when we talk about this balance, right? The best thing is we take guidance from those who are maintaining this balance in their life, right? Because it's like a hand holding. Someone, even in the material life, we see mentorship, right? So here also, because this is a great science, so it needs to be handhold. We need to be handholded by someone who are maintaining this balance in their life, right? So that's the key takeaway, that we are not these bodies, we are the spirit souls. And soul never dies while body is always dead. Okay, so we'll stop here. Any for next 2-3 minutes, any questions or comments you would like to share? Any realizations around this? Yeah.
Presence of the soul, we can feel by consciousness.
Consciousness is the symptom of presence of soul. Right? Let's say the only difference between a dead body and a live body is what? Soul. So will it have blood? It might have blood also, right? Let's say a body just died. So if you carefully analyze this, only difference would be soul. It will have all the organs fully functional, everything, let's say, right? But it's just that now people might say because his heart is not functioning and the live body, the heart is functioning. That is also a difference. But that is just that's a result, not the cause. Since soul has left the body, so the heart has stopped functioning, lungs have stopped functioning. Right? So consciousness is the symptom of the soul. So anywhere, let's say, if this phone does not have any consciousness, right? It can be here for millions of years, and it would not move unless someone with consciousness moves it. Right? So consciousness is the source of energy also. So consciousness, if our body does not have consciousness, body would not have any energy at all. So what gives energy to the body, to the functioning of the body, is the soul. Even scientists in the medical circle, they understand that heart is the seat of energy. Heart is the seat of energy because soul resides in the region of the heart. Hirdeshe Arjuna Tishtati. It comes in Bhagavad Gita. Hirdeshe Arjuna Tishtati. That soul resides in the region of the heart. Good question. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Destiny is predetermined, or we can alter the destination. Right? Because of Prabhupada, when he is born on that is after stored, this child is very good friend. All life will struggle. When after reaching 70 plus, you will earn good reputation all around the world.
Right.
You will be very successful when you become 70 plus. That is materialistic thing. Another spiritual thing, this is the last part of Prabhupada. Suppose in our case, materially and spiritually, whatever we have to make this life as a
Last birth.
Last birth.
Very good question. So
They are saying that is last birth out there.
yeah.
So some people like, well, this is last or some 1, 2, 3 left, we can take another endeavor or what.
Yeah. So you understood his question. So in summary, his question is that, is our destiny predetermined or can we change it? What we have to do that this birth be our last birth. What is that we have to do? Just like for Srila Prabhupada, it was predicted that this is the last. Okay. So let's generically this you have a meeting here, 7:30. Okay. So yeah, we are going to wrap up. So destiny wise, yeah. So destiny is like we have karmas, right? So anything we do good gives us it's like a positive balance in your credit card, right? You have a credit value. Anything negative we do, it's like a negative thing. So both are separate. It's not like +4, -4, null. It's not that math. For +4, we have to separately get the results, good karmas. Those are called good reactions. And for negative things, we have to experience the bad things also. Right? So that's the general law of karma, how it acts. So we have 14 planetary systems. So we go to upper planetary systems. It comes, all details are there in 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So if you do good karma, let's say you feed a poor person, you give clothes to someone. So karma will ensure that next life you will have a textile factory because you gave clothes to someone, right? And you'll have a good education since you gave maybe taught in school kids or someone, like something you did in education, right? So that's a good karma. But as soon as our good karma are finished, we just come down to this earth, right? So similarly for the bad reactions, right? So, but Krishna, the unique part we learn in Bhagavad Gita, that there's a third thing also. There's an escape route. So beyond this plus and minus, there is a third thing which is called akarma. So good karmas are called karma, bad karmas are called vikarma, and there is something called akarma. Anything we do in spiritual life is akarma. It does not born any fruits for it. Right? So now, coming to your question, what we can ensure that, based on how much we have the intensity for our spiritual life, that would ensure that we have this, we can finish up all these karmas and this be our last birth, right? So it is said in Chaitanya Charitamrita that Ek Krishna Naam Kare Sarva Papashaya. Even one holy name of Krishna, if taken properly, can just clear up all the backlogs for millions and millions of life, right? So it's just the intensity, it's just the seriousness. And it might take millions of life if we become sluggish, right? So if we are properly, our intensity is correct, we will be able to make this as a last life. Yeah. For Srila Prabhupada, right? For yeah.
Energy in 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. Like it is a village. Why God can't give the things to work in very easy?
Yeah. So actually, no. For devotees like Srila Prabhupada, so they are pure devotees of the Lord, and there are so many pure devotees of the Lord, right? So for pure devotees, even Bhagavad Gita suggests that Krishna directly controls them. The karmas are not controlling them. For general souls, karmas are acting. Material nature is acting, right? For pure devotees, karma, they don't act. Now, even you'll see great devotees are put into trouble just to glorify them. What to say of like Prabhupada? Even like we see Vasudeva and Devaki, they are mothers and father of Krishna, mother and father, and see how much trouble they had to go through. So if you are thinking that you came to Krishna and all troubles will be gone, then it's not the right place. But what will happen is that Krishna will ensure that even despite the troubles, will be blissful, will be immune to all these troubles. Troubles would be there for devotees also, right? Recession is there for devotees also. COVID is there for devotees also. But then the amount of impact and worry it brings to a normal person would not be there for a devotee. Yeah, that's the difference. Okay, I think they have a meeting. We'll stop here. Thank you, your excellent crowd. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Grantra Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.